There's nothing quite like a big baseball weekend here at the corner of Clark and Addison, the home of the Chicago Cubs, and Wrigley Field, where a big crowd is gathering for Game 1 of a 4-game weekend set. For many of these young Braves, it's their first ever visit to Wrigley Field. Not so for A.J. Przinsky. This isn't his first rodeo. Hopefully the Braves can slow what for now is a playoff express for the Chicago Cubs. Right now, they are one of 2 National League wild card representatives. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip, welcome to Wrigley Field in Chicago. Perfect night for baseball. The wind is blowing out, and local kid Mike Fultonevich gets his first crack at the Cubs here in Chicago tonight.
And you know the times he spent here at Wrigley Field as a kid when he saw the wind blowing out, he would dread thinking about pitching here on a night like this. But his first start in a local setting. He's going to have a lot of family and friends here tonight. One thing we're going to see tonight from Fultonevich and Arrieta, we're going to see some flames. We're going to see some high-octane fastballs tonight for these 2 guys.
And Jake Arrieta right now is the ace of the Cubs staff. It's not John Lester. It's this very talented right-hander.
He is among the best in baseball right now. And since about the middle of June, no one's been a whole lot better than Jake Arrieta, as the Braves found out at Turner Field right after the All-Star break. Take a look at this. Tied for the most wins in the National League. He's got a string of 11 straight quality starts, a 1.35 ERA since the middle of June. All that adds up to good stuff. This guy's on track to be a Cy Young Award contender.
So, hey, it might be, it could be, it is time for Braves and Cubs baseball. Lineups and first pitch from Wrigley Field in Chicago coming up right after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
The Braves and Cubs start a 4-game series tonight. Let's check out Atlanta's starting lineup presented by skipper Freddie Gonzalez. Nick Markakis will lead things off on the Academy starting 9. That's because Michael Bourne's having trouble getting on base. So a little pressure off for Michael. He'll hit 8th. Jace Peterson is in the number 6 spot, and a tough hombre is facing the Braves tonight, right-hander Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, we just talked about those numbers lately that he's had going, and over this 11 consecutive quality start stretch, he's 8-1. And the one loss, he got shut out 5-0, so he got no run support. 166 opponent's average. This year, a 206 average against him for the year. Listen to this: 162 innings. He's given up 120 hits. That's ridiculous.
So Nick Markakis leads off for Atlanta. Lifetime .280 hitter here at Wrigley Field. And the first pitch, a blazing strike. That's pulled. Great stop, Rizzo. Arrieta to the bag. 1 out. Great plays like that are somewhat rare for this young Cubs infield. They've had trouble catching the baseball from time to time, but not here in the first.
Boy, was that a great save. 77 errors by this Cubs team. That's the 4th most in the National League. Arrieta, mid-90s, throws a cutter off his fastball to lefties, makes it hard on him, drops a slider down on their back foot. He's also got an excellent curveball.
Cameron Maybin faces him next, hitting .280, 10 homers, and 52 knocked in. Maybin riding an 8-game hitting streak. This is going to be a fun weekend. There will be a lot of Cubs fans and Braves fans at Wrigley. 4-game series. Cubs 34-26 at home. The Braves have to somehow, some way, find a way to snap out of it on the road. It has been an awful 20-game stretch away from Turner Field for the Braves.
Yeah, they've lost 18 out of 20 road games.
There's that mid-90s heat. 2 balls and a strike. It's Miguel Montero behind the plate. He was hurt when we saw the Cubs in Atlanta. High hopper. Rizzo's got it. And there's the second out. Anytime you play in Chicago, you have to wonder about the wind and the weather. There's maybe no other park in baseball where Mother Nature dictates the outcome more than this one. And the wind is blowing out tonight, out of the northwest at 14 to 20 miles an hour and 71 delightful degrees. So as Billy Williams said, hit it high and watch it fly. Chance for Freddie Freeman to do just that. He's got 14 homers on the year. Strike 1.
Works from what looks like a stretch position, and then he steps back, kicks his leg up, throws across his body, and from the third base side it looks like he's almost throwing from third base. He started the year last year on the disabled list. He had a sore shoulder, but when he was able to come back, he pitched great last year. He was 10-5 with a .253 ERA for the year. So this is a continuation of what he did last year.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Freddie comes back from the disabled list and he gets Tyson Ross and Jake Arrieta back-to-back first 2 games.
Bounced into the second row of seats behind the Braves on deck circle. That's where A.J. Przinsky stands. And another grounder foul. That's headed for the Atlanta bullpen.
Arrieta's start in Atlanta on June 19th. 7 innings of 3-hit shutout ball. Walked 3, struck out 10 in 7 innings.
Freddie's making him work. 2 outs. And another bouncing ball to first. Rizzo had a busy inning. 3 groundouts from Jake Arrieta. And now Mike Foltynewicz lives a boyhood dream. He'll pitch at Wrigley Field when we come back. Now young Mike Foltynewicz, the pride of Minooka, Illinois, a town just southwest of Chicago, goes to work here at Wrigley tonight.
He's 4-4 on the year, but take a look at what he's done in 4 games against the National League Central. 2-0 with a 2.70 ERA. Outstanding stuff. Let's hope he's on tonight and has good command. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Number 1, this leadoff hitter. Dexter Fowler's red hot. 7-game hitting streak. He's been on base 7 of his last 10 at-bats. He is a great table setter for this excellent Cubs offense. And walks with the wind. No, it's not an old Indian term. However, he is from Minooka, Illinois. But in this wind, with it blowing out, you just can't afford to walk guys with the wind blowing out. Chances are good somebody's going to pop one up and hit it out of here, make sure there's no walks on in front of them.
All the flags starched and blowing toward right as Foltynewicz starts his night with a strike to Atlanta's Dexter Fowler. Dexter hitting .252, 13 homers, 35 knocked in. Ground ball to second. And that's a good start for Mike's night. Here's the rest of the Cubs starting lineup. As Joe mentioned in our pregame commentary, they hit a lot of homers, they strike out a lot, and they are awfully good and awfully young. And this guy, Kyle Schwarber, has really taken this Chicago town and team by storm. He's the 2nd place hitter on their Academy Sports lineup.
I've really been anxious to watch him swing the bat. Just drafted last year out of Indiana University, and he was tearing it up already after 1.5 years in the minor leagues. And Joe Madden said, let's get him up here.
We saw him in Atlanta and he was catching. That's because Montero was hurt. That was the question mark the Cubs had. Could Kyle Schwarber catch well enough to stay in the lineup every day? Peterson dives, got it, threw him out. Beautiful play. Right side of the infield in play in the opening inning for both clubs. 2 up, 2 down for Foltynewicz.
And both ground outs on 99-mile-an-hour fastballs. Ball got under his glove, but right there by his right hand, an easy pickup. Traditionally, Chip, you know this better than I, that this infield is typically slow because they let the grass grow a little higher, right?
In theory, yeah. I was down on the field before the game. It looks a little lower than it's been in the past. And that makes sense with this young Cub infield. You're not exactly looking at Ron Say and Ryan Sandberg and Larry Bow out there. So
very athletic.
This Chris Coghlan. When he moved to the 3 spot, the Cubs took off. He was a Marlin. Coghlan was one of the best young hitters in our league. He's found a home in Chicago playing left field and now second base.
All fastballs so far from Fulte, and he is airing it out, folks. I think the first pitch of the game at 96 was the slowest one he's thrown.
Kind of reminds you of the way he started the game in Baltimore against the Orioles. Just blowing fastballs past the birds.
First non-fastball sign.
And Coghlan fouled it off. Mike checking to make sure AJ is all right. Maybe we want to be certain of the signs. I would imagine, Joe, when you look at Foltynewicz, you know about the arm, you know about the potential, you know about the strikeouts that he can rack up. But with this guy so raw, so unpolished, patience is going to be a very big key as he finishes out this year.
Couldn't agree more. And I think the patience lies in command. You know, not just throwing as hard as you can, but having an idea if you're working to one side of the plate or the other, and continuing to progress, the word that Roger McDowell uses, progress on your secondary pitches.
Off the thumbs and out to short. Simmons has it, and Foltynewicz has a 1-2-3.
As we've said all along, Mike is a sinker ball, ground ball pitcher.
A 10-pitch first and no score heading to the second.
Pitchers made for a very quick first inning. We head to the second inning now. The Braves coming up to bat. A guy Chicago fans know very well, A.J. Pierzynski, stepping up to the plate. This will be his 116th at bat here at Wrigley Field. But he told me this is still a pretty cool place to come, even though, as he said, he always gets a very warm welcome from the Cubs fans here, going back to his White Sox days. But he talked about, you know, the amenities may not all be there because it is an old ballpark. It's a pretty small clubhouse. Guys had to ask directions how to get from the clubhouse out to the field. But even he said all the ballparks he's been in, pretty cool place to play.
Not only, Jen, did the ball players have to ask where the dugout was, a certain sideline reporter had to ask that question, too.
Hey, look, it's no easy track getting up to the press box either, okay?
No.
Just FYI.
Who needs a Stairmaster, right?
Love it.
Should have seen a guy on a scooter with a boot on his foot trying to get up here last year.
That's right. Well, Jen, glad you're here. As A.J. Pierzynski leads off the second inning. Lifetime 296 hitter with 5 homers at Wrigley Field. Didn't get it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I think the Cubs feel pretty confident that Jake Arrieta could be their #1 guy in a 1-game shootout, but he wasn't supposed to be that guy. John Lester was. Lester has shown flashes of brilliance, but has also been bombarded a time or two, including his last time out against the Tigers.
Now his record, I was just looking at that a minute ago. His record, a losing record, 8-9, decent ERA, 3.58. And he's given up 14 home runs, which is not altogether surprising pitching in this ballpark on any given day. But this guy, Arrieta, has risen, I think, to the top of the heap for them.
Right now, the Cubs have the #2 wild card spot in the National League. They're 3 games ahead of the Giants. They're 4 games behind their division foes, the Pirates, who own the top wild card spot. AJ sprays one foul to the left side, still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
AJ's had great luck against Arrieta, 7 for 11, 2 homers. And I think part of that, and part of the reason they're pitching him away here, is that AJ loves that ball down and in. And one of Arrieta's best pitches to left-handers is that back foot slider.
Adonis Garcia waits next. Brzezinski will see an 8th pitch from Arrieta, leading off the Braves' second. Sharply hit, but right to Coughlin from the outfield grass. 1 man down. If there is a defensive problem for the Cubs, it has been on their infield. A lot of errors by their young infield grouping. Bryant with 14, Russell with 12, Rizzo only 4. Starlin Castro in double digits in errors, and he's been benched by the Cubs. Schwarber's a catcher playing left. Fowler can go get him in center, and Jorge Soler's got a cannon in right. Miguel Montero, the former Diamondback, is the Cubs' #1 catcher. And a strike to Adonis. So far, the pitchers have paid attention to the weather. Everything's on the ground so far. 4 ground outs from the Braves offense, 3 ground outs from the Chicago offense.
Pitching staff gave up 40 hits in 2 games to the Tigers, who came in here for a quick 2-game series. And like I said to the person who told me that, Arrieta didn't pitch either one of those games.
Joe Madden had a great line. He was asked about the Tigers bombarding his ball club. He said, well, on the positive side, at least it wasn't a 3-game series.
Yeah. He's always got the silver lining working. And he's got a special week working this week, right?
American Legion week. None of his players were allowed to come to the ballpark until 5 o'clock today. Come in, get treatment if you need it, get loose, and go play. They do that all week. And a strike called of the inside corner. Garcia didn't think so. And that's the first for Arrieta tonight. 2 up and 2 down.
Another one of his weapons. This was a front door curveball to Garcia, and it did not look like a strike. Nice job by Montero to make it look better than it was. Doug Eddings rings him up.
So the base is empty for Jace Peterson. And he had a good cut. Steal, right one.
Jace was 2 for 12 in San Diego. Trying to get that average back up to 250.
And so those struggles have him dropped out of the leadoff spot tonight. Took a little pressure off of him. And it's off the plate.
Arrieta's lefty-righty splits might surprise you. Take a look at this. Left-hander's only $174, 3 of the 9 homers. He's got a lot of weapons for lefties, including his cutter and slider. Backdoor breaking ball.
Rizzo can't get that one. Jace Peterson has the first hit for either club tonight. A 2-out single to right field.
Both sides infielders are getting tested right away. This ball was sharply hit. Slider that didn't do much. Might have been a cutter that he didn't get inside like he'd want.
And that brings up Andrelton Simmons hitting 7th tonight. Ball, no strikes. Popped up into the stands. And a battle for the souvenir.
Arrieta's 29 years old, 6'4", 225, out of Plano, Texas. More good numbers on him for this month alone. Undefeated, 0.84 ERA.
Ground ball towards short. Addison Russell flips to second in time, and that ends the Atlanta second. Anthony Rizzo leads off for the Cubs, still no score. Off for Chicago. This young man has really become a cornerstone player for this Cubs ball club, and a throwback kind of player, Joe, in that he hits for a lot of power from the corner infield. Doesn't strike out.
They thought he was going to be the perfect guy for the Boston Red Sox. He wasn't. He got traded to the San Diego Padres, and he was awful in the Padre organization. Maybe the shock of the trade, I don't know, but didn't do much. So when the new regime took over here in Chicago, which had a distinct Boston background, they wanted Anthony Rizzo, and boy, has he found a home here. 70 RBIs.
And only 68 strikeouts. That is rare in this era of Major League Baseball. And Foltynewicz, another upper 90s fastball. Missed with this one. 1 ball, no strikes. AJ liked that one, and the result too, even count. Minooka, Illinois, Mike Foltynewicz's hometown, is about an hour or so southwest of Chicago. But Mike Foltynewicz is not the first big league player from that small town of about 10,000 residents. Sal Fasano is from Minooka, Illinois.
Catcher.
One and the same. As Chris Bryant waits next. First a 3-1 pitch. And it's called a strike. Generous corner. and it's full.
And that was the same side of the plate that Arrieta got that call on Garcia.
Rizzo walks. 59 walks for the Cubs first baseman, and now Chris Bryant comes up. Bryant might be the Rookie of the Year in the National League. Look at what he has done in his first season in Chicago, a season that started later than some would have liked on the north side here.
Yeah, they were trying to control his arbitration years that are yet to come, but take a look. First, second, third, fourth, in all those categories since he got called up. Tons of strikeouts. Tons.
144 of them in 397 at-bats. But still a 367 on base. Down in Atlanta, Bryant had some trouble with the slider down and away. Let's see if Fultonevich twirls a few of those here. No balls and a strike. Down and away. He took it at 99.
Nothing really wrong with 99 on the outside corner at the knees. I don't know if it's because he's off to a good start, had a real good first inning, or what it is, but Mike seems more under control tonight with his windup and now his stretch. Ball's coming out of his hand beautifully. Never does look like he's overthrowing, but tonight he's really fluid. Rizzo's a big guy, but you got to pay attention to him. 15 swipes.
"20 pitches from Fultonevich. I'll bet 18 of them have been 95 or higher." Until they hit it, why change? One on, nobody out. That's low. Took a little off. Brzezinski blocked it. Now it's 2-2. So Bryant playing a waiting game now, full count. Let's see how the Cubs play it. Nice strikeout guy in the box.
That was a pretty good slider he laid off there.
Let's see if he doubles up with it. Pitch. Ground ball slowly hit. Simmons at short, flips to second for one. That's all the Braves get. Rizzo's forced out. And Bryant's at first for Miguel Montero. Already a couple of good defensive plays from the Braves. The CPI security defense features Freeman, Peterson, Simmons, and Garcia around the horn. Lauren Maven and Markakis challenge the brick walls and the ivy in the outfield, and AJ, of course, is behind the plate. Montero spent a lot of time on the DL with a thumb sprain. Arizona catcher with 11 homers and a .228 average.
Montero, an all-star catcher, got power, as you see. His average is not where he would like it to be, but that was an excellent acquisition for them over the wintertime.
Something's got to give tonight. Braves 0-3 on the road trip. The Cubs have lost their last 3 games. Pitch. Swing and a miss. 99 miles an hour.
Tardy. He was late. I don't know if it's just me, but I see a little life on that fastball in terms of movement. Darting away from a left-hander a little bit. That one definitely started in and came back.
And that's something, again, when you talk about incremental progress. That pitch at 100 miles an hour, by the way. We've talked about Fulte having a great fastball, but it's real straight.
Yeah.
If he can throw 99 or 98 with movement, look out.
He could throw 95, 96 with some movement.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Good point.
And it is flying out of his hand.
And down on strikes goes Montero. Wants to know if it was a strike. I don't think he saw it. He probably heard it as it whistled by at 99, and that's the first strikeout for Fultonevich. 2 out.
He was late on everything, especially this one that was supposed to be away but came in on him.
23 of his first 27 pitches at 95 or higher. And now Jorge Soler, the right fielder. He's hit 6 homers. He's driven in 41. He too is a high strikeout guy. If he gets that over with the kind of fastball he's got, might be a fun night.
That's an 89-mile-an-hour slider, folks. Soler's out of Cuba, was given a 9-year deal by the Cubs.
Line into left. He turned around a 99-mile-an-hour heater. That was not a Soler flare. That was a rocket.
Yes, it was.
First and second. Something else the Cubs do that is somewhat unique. They bat their pitcher 8th to protect Addison Russell, the young shortstop. So even though Fulton's got 2 men on, he can get out of the inning with the pitcher coming up next.
It was just a single. No harm. He's got a homer, as you see. He's got a triple. 7 hits in all.
Strike at the knees. Talked with Joe Madden about his strategy of hitting the pitcher 8th. Something that has been done before by other managers, most notably Tony La Russa. It's more about Addison Russell, the youngster who's waiting on deck. For a young player to hit 8th in the National League is a really, really tough spot. So it's about protecting him. Get the pitcher out of the way. With the top of the order hitting behind him, Russell might see more good pitches to hit as opposed to having the pitcher bat 9th. And so the pressure for Fultonevich in this spot is if you don't get Arrieta, you've got a young hitter who can put the ball in play next.
Well, and it was always the philosophy of Tony La Russa that by batting his pitcher 8th, the next time through the order, that meant 3 guys would hit in front of Albert Pujols, so he became essentially the cleanup hitter after the first time through the order.
Ground ball to short. Simmons has it, and his throw to first is in time. Outfielders get a night off, at least to this point. Fultonevich and Arrieta locked in a scoreless duel. bobblehead night, September 10th, when the Mets are in town. The first 20,000 guests get a bobblehead featuring Braves pitcher Julio Teheran, presented by Grady Hospital. Get your tickets today. Go to Braves.com. That's a great shot. That's one of the many improvements that the Cubs made to Wrigley Field in the offseason. A lot of folks were forced to be dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century with a couple of new video boards here. One in left, one in the right field corner, the ribbon board below the scoreboard in right, and in the wells in left and right field. And I think, it's my perspective, they look great, like they've been here a while.
Vast improvements. Wonderful.
The Cubs are in the middle of a long-term gigantic renovation of Wrigley Field. Ballpark that recently celebrated its 100th season. As Bourne swings and misses. The outfield, bleachers, scoreboards have all been completed. Currently, the Cubs have a massive construction project on the third base side of the ballpark. They are transforming their locker room facility. A $650 million project. New locker rooms, new training facilities, weight rooms, parking, a hotel. All of those things to improve the experience at Wrigley Field for their players. And we found out something new about how extensive that construction is and where the new locker room is going to go. Not just beyond the stands toward the street, but under the field of play here.
Yeah, tunneled under the stadium.
It's off the plate, full count for Michael Bourne.
Ultimately, they will tear out this press box area and the visiting clubhouse as well and replace those. Hopefully by 3 o'clock tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Hey, the fact they're doing anything is good news in and of itself. Bourne's down on strikes, and Arrieta has 2 punch-outs so far tonight.
Boy, that a hard sinker there. Down and in. Again, with lefties, he just seems to have more weapons. He'll throw his curveball to right-handers, but he'll throw all 4 of his pitches to left-handers. And lately, they're all working.
Arrieta's won 14 games. He's made 11 consecutive quality starts. Steve Traxel once had a 12-start quality start run. Greg Maddux had 14 in a row for the Cubs. And this guy throws a lot harder than those other 2 men.
Yeah.
1-2 to Fultonevich. Mike's got a couple of hits. He's knocked in 3 runs.
Arrieta was originally with Baltimore. He was a 5th round pick out of Texas Christian University in 07. Traded to the Cubs.
And Fultonevich is down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Arrieta, who probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves because of the names above him in the ERA column in the National League.
But tied for first in wins. Top 6 in those other categories that are all Cy Young type categories. I have to say right now that the leader in the clubhouse by a large margin, though, is Zach Greinke. Joe Madden was terrific as a manager at Tampa Bay. His contract came up. He was not re-signed by Tampa Bay and signed with the Cubs to be their manager. He's different. He's certainly a smart guy, intellectual, knows baseball, had a hard time kind of being accepted in baseball because he didn't play in the big leagues.
Ground ball towards second. Coughlin's got it. He'll take care of Markakis.
He's definitely, Joe Madden, definitely different, but his players love him.
Right along, and his fastball moving right along too, as Chip and Joe have talked about. 1495 plus at this point. But talking to AJ Pierzynski before the game about Folty, asked him what he was looking for from the young pitcher, and he said fastball command, and he said that Mike really is learning on the fly. He's making little adjustments. He's trying hard. He said he did that in his last start. He worked on some things. He got better from one start to the next. And he talked about, AJ did, the entire pitching staff here and how hard they've all been working. He kept calling them kids, which made me and him both feel kind of old. But he said, you know, I kind of have to start 2 + 2 instead of just jumping right into calculus. Doing a little more teaching this year, but could not praise the hard work of these pitchers enough, fellas.
Addison Russell leads off for the Cubs and takes low, even count to him.
That's great to hear, Jen. We all know they're inexperienced. We all know they've got a lot to learn, but boy, they're all loaded with talent.
Sharply hit and through by Russell. He's the kid that came over from the Oakland A's, and he's played so well, especially defensively, that All-Star Starlin Castro has been sent to the bench. So Russell leads off the third with a clean hit.
Slider didn't do much. Just kind of a spinner that he turned on.
Dexter Fowler's the hitter. He grounded out his first time.
So having him in the 9th spot in the order, he acts as another leadoff man and gets on.
Anthony's a strike.
He's getting ahead in the count too, Chip. That's a good sign for him.
Fowler to a knee, fouled that away at 97.
Great sign for him there. That's outstanding.
Strike one to 7 of 10. Mike only one strikeout, but everything's been on the ground for him. That's also good to see on a blustery night in Chicago.
Dexter Fowler's had a good year for these guys. They got him from Houston, out of Milton High School in suburban Atlanta. He's done for them a lot of what Cameron Maben has been able to do for the Braves. Both good center fielders who had been struggling a little bit in in the last couple of years. But both have bounced back strongly. And I don't know what was wrong with that. PNC Bank tells you nothing.
Mike was disappointed. His shoulder slumped him over. Russell just back at first. 1 ball, 2 strikes, you count.
Big lead. Barely made it.
Again on a play foul. If you have not seen Mike Foltynewicz pitch, you will see him sustain his mid to upper 90s velocity. 6-7 innings if he's fortunate enough to stay in the game that long. That's what is so intriguing about this guy. One ball, 2 strikes. And a liner off the edge of Peterson's glove into right field. All hands are safe. And the Cubs threatening the third with back-to-back hits. So a missed strike 3 call turns into a Cubs hit.
Sure did. That's unfortunate for Mike Foltynewicz. And it brings up 3 guys, brings up Schwarber, who is one of 3 guys in their lineup and an everyday player, part of our Home Depot Tools in the Dugout. Russell, 11th overall pick in 2012. Bryant, the 2nd overall pick in 13. And last year, Schwarber, the 4th overall pick in 14. I'd say the Cubs have done a great job on Bryant and Schwarber with their draft picks. And they got Russell in the trade last year for Samardzija.
And that's the thing I think that's worth talking about. The Cubs had to do a complete and total house cleaning here. I mean, when you talk about tearing a franchise down and rebuilding it from the ground up, that's what Theo Epstein and his charges were charged with doing. And that's really hard here. Cubs haven't won a championship in 100+ years. You've got to go to your fans and say, well, we're not very good, but give us 5 more years. Well, those 5 years have passed, and here the Cubs are competing for a playoff spot with a good, if not terrific, young talented core. Schwarber didn't mean to and fouls that off. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, the story we got on Schwarber about not being on the ball club until recently was that they were struggling offensively. And Joe Madden basically said, you know, one of the best hitters, if not maybe the 2nd best hitter in our organization, is in AAA. Let's get him up here. And they did. And boy, he has not stubbed his toe one time. He has torn it up.
Swing and a miss. And when we say tearing it up, we're talking about tearing it up in historic proportions.
Yeah.
The number of home runs that this kid has hit in limited duty is eye-popping. And the names that are on a list we'll show you in a moment will have you shaking your head. Two balls, 2 strikes. 10 homers, 31 RBIs in 36 games for Kyle Schwarber. Popped him up. That will be an infield fly. He's out. And the Cubs left fielders retired for the 2nd time. 1 man down. Look at these numbers and look at these names that Kyle Schwarber has joined in 2015. With just 36 big league games under his belt. Look at this.
33 runs scored, 31 RBIs. In there with the most by Joe DiMaggio in 1936. He's not that far off. So that'll give you some perspective on what he's done in a short period of time here.
And what do general managers and managers say? If you don't have a position but you can hit, we'll find a place for you to play.
Right.
The Cubs have done that. Here's Coughlin. Speed pitch and missed with it. 1 ball, no strikes. Schwarber made the first out of any player in the air in the game. The first out of the third inning. Missed to corner.
Doug Eddings, who has a real short fuse and likes to take his mask off and yell at people. Yelling at Freddie Gonzalez because Freddie wanted to know where that pitch was, and he just threw Freddie out. Doug Eddings, he needs to take some anger management courses because he has a problem.
Nobody in the ballpark knew that Freddie Gonzalez said anything except Doug Eddings.
Yeah. I want to tell you something, too. Eddings is the guy that was behind the plate the night Johnny Estrada jumped up and yelled that expletive at Eddings and got thrown out of the game because Eddings was egging him on. Egging him on. Doug Eddings has got a problem. And this is a repeating scene.
Whether the pitch was a strike or not, you cannot argue balls and strikes. That's grounds for immediate ejection, and Eddings obliged Freddie Gonzalez, who was tossed. Chris Coughlin, who played for Freddie down in Miami, had a word too as the Braves skipper made his way to the first base dugout. And now Carlos Tosca will handle the lineup card, and we'll see if Freddie Gonzalez's protest gets Fultonevich an extra strike or two in the game. Freddie Gonzalez ejected for arguing balls and strikes.
It's about as demonstrative as we'll see Freddie.
Two 2-0 for Coughlin. 2 on. Shot to right field, a base hit. Here comes Russell around third. Markakis loads up. Here comes his throw to the plate. It's late. 1-0 Chicago. So the Joe Madden strategy has worked to perfection. Russell hitting ninth, led off with a single, and has scored the game's first run as Chris Coughlin drives home his 33rd man of the year.
Low fastball. Coughlin's really resurrected his career here in Chicago, to be sure. That low fastball, he's able to drop the barrel on it, and hopefully the distraction of Doug Eddings didn't cost him that run.
So Rizzo hits. He walked his first time up. Rizzo had a bit of a dry spell. One hit in his last 13 at bats. Three singles and a Chicago run. Swing and a drive. Did he keep it fair? He did. 3-run homer.
Rizzo and Madden were having an extended conversation before Rizzo ever went to the on-deck circle. It might have been about Mike Fultonevich and how he kept this ball fair. I don't know. That was a great swing by Rizzo to not hook it foul.
4 runs on 2 pitches after the Freddie Gonzalez ejection. And the Cubs have scored 4 times in the 3rd inning. And Chris Bryant, the batter. Swing miss. First time the Cubs have had a lead in 4 games. They've scored 4 times. As Fultonevich allows home run number 16 this year. 16 home runs in fewer than 80 innings.
You rely on your fastball as much as he does, that's going to be a byproduct. That will only get better.
That's Adrian Johnson, the first base umpire. No swing for Chris Bryant. That's over the roof and out of play. And at the 8 o'clock hour in Chicago, Chris Bryant will face another 1-2 pitch. .24 homers, 73 RBIs for Rizzo. And now Bryant stays alive. That hurt. He is limping beyond the right-hand batter's box.
Chased a lot of sliders in Atlanta, but he has not seen a good one yet from Foltynewicz. This is another one on the inside part of the plate, off the top of his foot, even with that protective cover on it.
There's that slider. Best of the night from Foltynewicz.
Yep.
2 out. Second strikeout for Mike. Montero was his first victim. He's in the box now. Ball one high to Miguel Montero. And the Braves hit in the 4th inning. Maben, Freeman, and Krasinski are coming up. That shot was of Carlos Tosca, the Braves bench coach, now the acting manager with the ejection of Freddie Gonzalez. Play. That one's headed for the roof left side. Foul. 2-1. Jake Arrieta usually doesn't get this kind of run support at home.
No.
Under 3 runs per game of support. He's got 4 already. And Montero didn't get it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's still late. Mike's just got to regroup with the help of A.J. Pierzynski and the staff when he gets in the dugout. Keep moving along. He had a really good outing going. And he still does.
Yeah, you know, this reminds us of the Baltimore game. And I keep bringing that one up because it was very similar in that Foltynewicz kept pumping fastball after fastball. 2 pitches cost him the game.
Yeah.
2 solo homers. It's 2 pitches that led to 4 runs. And a squibber right side. Freeman and Foltynewicz. It'll be Folty making the play. He'll step on the bag. And that's the inning. Cubs get 4. Doug Eddings gets Freddie Gonzalez. And Arrieta gets a 4-run advantage. Addison Russell led off the Cubs third with a hit. Foltynewicz thought he had him struck out. Then Chris Coghlan stepped in. Close pitch went the Cubs' way, and then Freddie Gonzalez came out, argued, and got tossed.
Yeah, his fastball started on the plate and tailed off, but I thought it was a pretty good pitch. One that he had called earlier on Garcia, and another one that went for Foltynewicz, where he got a strike call. Not there. Mr. Eddings, big man on campus. And he likes it that way.
So the Braves have to come back from 4 runs down against Jake Arrieta. It starts with Cameron Maybin. And that's ball high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Fastball from Arrieta to the outside corner is hard for right-handers to measure in terms of it looking outside, because it's kind of a crossfire fastball. It looks like it's away, and then all of a sudden it's not.
Maybin grounded out to Rizzo to start his night at the plate. And swung and missed there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Braves have 1 hit so far tonight. Reminiscent of how the Cubs pitched in Atlanta. Braves had trouble hitting Chicago down at Turner Field right after the All-Star break. Cubs took 2 out of 3 in that series back in Atlanta. Full count. Bounce toward Bryant. And it's under his glove. And there's that infield defense that's been so offensive for Chicago this year. Bryant commits his 15th error. All help accepted for the Braves, who put a leadoff man on in front of Freddie Freeman.
This is just stabbing at it. It looked like he was already looking toward first base. Wasn't down on the ball, and then just stabbed at it when the ball didn't come up the way he wanted it to. That was a bad error. 53 by the infield.
Second most in the league. I was shocked to find out that it's the Pittsburgh Pirates who have the most infield errors.
Yeah, me too.
Both the issues of Pedro Alvarez at first base. I understand why that might truly be the case. Freddie grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. He's hit 3 career homers at Wrigley. Braves have the right guys up against Arrieta, down 4-zip. And out of play to left.
As if they needed it to feel more intimate, these scoreboards make the ballpark feel smaller to me. It's like it's all closing in. Sure, the pitchers love that.
Oh, what a cut. And foul back. Well, it's either that or these matchbox-sized broadcast booths that give you a bit of claustrophobia.
They weren't made for you and me, were they?
No, they were not. He's out. Look at this.
Little snug.
Lodged right here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And back to first is Moody. Little dribbler to the right side, and that'll beat the shift.
That'll teach him.
Love it. An error and an infield hit. And now Przinsky can make it a one-run game with one mighty swing.
And I don't even think it broke his bat. Breaking ball right in on his thumbs. Thing of beauty.
Now the fans remember to boo A.J. Przinsky as he steps up in a run-scoring spot. A.J. bounced out to second in the second inning. Good speed at second. And A.J. ready to go. And that's taken low.
For 7 in San Diego, and he's the only guy that had any luck against the Cubs in Atlanta. He's the only guy that had as many as 3 hits in those 3 games. 3 for 9.
So as you said earlier, the right guy in the right spot for the Braves. Przinsky's the man that's had the most luck against Arrieta too.
Absolutely.
Baseball is such a game of perspective, a million different shades of gray. You called Freddie Freeman's infield hit a thing of beauty. Jim Deshaies, a former pitcher on the Cubs side, after he got that hit, said, "That's just gross." Spoken like a true pitcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes. AJ wants timeout. That's upstairs.
He's had some pitches get away from him. He's thrown some 55-footers. Almost sailed that one to the backstop.
Two and two. Play left side. A.J. Przinsky, tonight's Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot.
32 games in this ballpark, 5 homers, 20 driven in, and now 7 for 12 against Arrieta. The 2 long ones.
Ground ball toward Rizzo at first. Second base, 1. Return throw to first is in time. Double play. Maben to third, 2 out. A 3-6-1 double play.
AJ's giving it all he's got. Not enough.
So Garcia bats. He was struck out looking. Didn't like the call. And Freddie Gonzalez thrown out of the game in the 3rd inning, arguing balls and strikes. A very generous strike 3 is what retired Garcia. Stopped by Montero. Hardball Times once listed Doug Eddings as having the largest strike zone in the big leagues as of 4 years ago. Braves may beg to differ tonight. One ball, 1 strike. Hector Olivera, the man the Braves acquired from the Dodgers, was promoted to Gwinnett today. He's got 2 hits and a run scored in his first AAA game tonight.
Good.
He may join us as early as Monday in Atlanta. We'll see about that. 1-1 pitch. Now it's Montero's turn to complain. That's headed for the second deck, right side. We'll do it again. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Both of these guys have hard sliders in the upper 80s.
Strike 3 called again. That ends the inning. The Braves had runners first and second, nobody out. Double play and strikeout ends the 4th inning. Cubs lead at 4-0. Field. We've got great upcoming weekend matchups. The Yankees next weekend in Atlanta. We've got the Mets and Cardinals too. Friday night fireworks, and kids run the bases every Sunday. The weekend's a perfect time to catch up with friends and family at beautiful Turner Field. Visit Braves.com/tickets today and plan your visit. Mike Foltynewicz back to work, bottom part of the Cubs order. He's down 4-0. And Anthony Rizzo, 3-run homer down the right field line. The big blow last inning. Soler lines to third, 1 out. There's no place like it.
Wind's died down a little bit, not blowing out quite like it was. I don't think it had any effect at all on Rizzo's homer.
Yeah, he hit that one seemingly under radar.
Yeah.
Strike 1 to Arrieta, who bounced out to short his first time up. Cubs will be paying close attention to the scoreboard in Pittsburgh tonight. That's a huge game. Pirates lead the Giants 2-0. Cubs are trying to chase down the Pirates for the top wild card spot. They're also trying to hold off San Francisco. They lead them by 3 games for the number 2 wild card.
Giants are in some real trouble. They lost bunch of their outfielders. Traded for Marlon Byrd today.
Strike 3 for Arrieta. Yeah, Marlon Byrd came over. Hunter Pence to the DL, an oblique problem. Bird's hit 68 homers the last 3 years. Last 3 years, Pence has hit 56, Posey's hit 53, Brandon Belt's hit 46. So it's an upgrade.
Yeah, they needed some pop. But Pagan is on the disabled list. He's got a bad hamstring. Pence now with an oblique.
Aoki's been off and on the DL a couple of times. But through all that, the Giants are still only 2 games behind the Dodgers. Out west. Fly ball by Russell. That's deep left. Bourne as far as he can go. Goodbye. Home run. Addison Russell just picked up his 20th 2-out RBI this year. He's hitting 9th, and it's 5-0 Cubs.
It's that slider again. I don't know if he's trying to throw a cutter. It could well be an attempt to throw a cutter that's not moving much, because that didn't really have that dot spin like a slider.
Rizzo and Russell have homered for Chicago tonight. The Cubs have hit 118 home runs this year, and 18 in their last 8 games. A stretch during which the Cubs have won 15 of 19.
Well, they were doing fine till the Detroit Tigers came to town and activated Cabrera and went to town offensively.
One of those games was against John Lester, who historically has had big problems with the Tigers. They didn't run into Arrieta. The Braves have run into him tonight. Addison Russell, a 2-out solo homer to left. We're through 4. Cubs have a big lead. Chicago. They are doing it the Chicago way since the All-Star break. The Cubs have been circling the bases at will.
They've certainly got a great core of young players, position players.
Jace Peterson leads off. He's the 6th place hitter for Atlanta tonight, and the first Braves hit in the last 2 of them. I think that'll be a fascinating thing to talk about in the years to come. The Cubs' strategy was, in this era where Major League Baseball is so offensively challenged. As you pointed out, a lot of their high draft picks were offensive-minded players. Conversely, the Braves have gotten back to the Braves way. Stockpile pitching currency. These two teams would be amiable trade partners in the years ahead.
Well, they got Lester through free agency. They brought Jason Hamill back, who had been included in the Samardzija deal, so he's back in the rotation. They got Arrieta through a trade a couple of years ago. I think we're kind of seeing a trend here about how they go about getting their pitching. And typically you've got to pay a premium for that kind of acquisition. Proven major league pitchers, whether it be free agency or trades. But you got to like what they've done in picking their position players.
To the right side and through. Jace Peterson is 2 for 2 tonight.
There's his curveball right over the top. But Jace stayed back on it enough to hit it hard through the hole. Waited on it.
Arrieta back to the stretch. Braves had a great chance in the 4th inning. 2 on, nobody out, but a double play and strikeout took him out of the inning. Let's see what Simmons can do with a man aboard in the top of the 5th. Runner goes. Pitch a strike. Throw to second is late. It's off Coughlin's glove and trickles into shallow center field. All hands are safe. It's a steal for Jace Peterson, number 11 on the year.
Yeah, Jace was 10 and 10. 10 steals, 10 caught stealing prior to this one. I'm glad to see him not get gun shy about worrying about getting thrown out again. Keep going. The more you try, the better you get, the more you learn.
Out of corner, 0-2.
That's not picking the ball up very well. That's a very defensive swing, a late swing, but he got enough of it on a 95 fastball to see another pitch, especially from the stretch. I think that ball is on the right-handed hitters more so than the lefties because they just can't pick it up.
The hitter's background here is very different than it's been in years past too. Bouncing ball toward Bryant. He backs up. He makes a strong throw. There's the out. Peterson has to hold at second. With all the renovations that have been done at Wrigley Field, center field is an area where they've changed quite dramatically. There's a restaurant club right above those juniper bushes in center field. That used to all be green little bushes out there. Don't know if that has any effect on the hitters or not.
It's a small batter's eye.
Right.
And I'm going to guess that if you're a right-handed hitter against a left-handed pitcher, it's not big enough.
Michael Bourne struck out his first time up. So we'll ask the guys after the game their thoughts on that. It's a huge advantage for the Cubs, especially playing teams from the East. They only get here for 3 or 4 games a year. That's a quick adjustment you have to make.
A lot of the people who are looking at the design work of a batter's eye, they stand at home plate, they get in line with the pitcher's mound, and they think, okay, there's a good batter's eye width behind the pitcher. But what they should be doing is standing in the left or right-handed batter's box, because it changes the angle altogether of where the pitch is coming from the pitcher's arm, and they need to be wider.
That ball pops away from Montero. Peterson on his way to third, and he'll make it safely. And Joe, that's an excellent point. As you look at the batter's eye from our vantage point, the stands angle down, and there's almost like that little point right to the right of the Weber grill sign. Where I would think for a left-hand hitter, the ball's going to come right out of that point.
It's going to come out of that, and not the batter's eye. That's why I'm saying that if the people who think they're giving you a generous batter's eye are standing right on top of home plate. They're not standing in the batter's box, and they don't have a pitcher standing out there coming from, like Arrieta, from the third base side of the rubber. So now all of a sudden the ball's in the shirts of the folks in the bleachers.
And this is a night game. Think about the daytime where the Cubs play half their games at home. Not easy at all. And that just missed a Bourne. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Quick moment. Want to pass along our best wishes to former President Jimmy Carter. He's undergoing treatment for cancer today. He announced that in Atlanta. With great care of the medical pros at Emory University. President Carter is a huge Braves fan and a friend to many in the Atlanta organization, and we certainly wish him all the best and a complete recovery.
100%. He's got to be the #1 Braves fan.
Pretty much.
Yeah. On that subject, in keeping with the presidential status, our best wishes to Jack Kennedy, our good friend who's in the hospital at Piedmont, and we hope Jack has a speedy recovery as well.
Good battle for Michael Bourne here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Arrieta missed. He's thrown a lot of pitches tonight. Not as sharp as he was in Atlanta.
Michael's getting a little out on that front foot. And when he does, his hands are kind of going with him. He's got to try and keep his hands back, try to keep that upper body from getting out over his front foot.
Fly ball. Twisting foul of the Cubs bullpen.
It was the biggest battle I waged with myself all the time, was getting out over my front foot and taking my hands with me and not having anything left in my swing. So I can relate.
Michael seen 14 pitches so far tonight. He's trying to get on the board here in the 5th. Runner at third with 1 out. Bourne with a terrific at bat is aboard with a 1-out free pass, and Fultonevich is the hitter. That's Arrieta's first walk tonight, 1st and 3rd for the Braves pitcher.
He was not pitching around Michael. If he wanted to walk him, he could have done it a whole lot earlier than that. Just joined us. Freddie complained to Doug Eddings about a call that didn't go Fultonevich's way in the 3rd inning. Right after that, an RBI hit and a 3-run homer.
He tries to bunt, didn't get it. Strike 1. Bo Porter, the Braves' 3rd base coach and a former Cub, with the signals for Mike. Runner at first goes. The pitch low. Fake by Montero. No throw. So Michael Bourne steals a base. believe that's Michael's first since rejoining the Braves.
It is, and his 14th on the year, and adds to a good list here for him at Wrigley Field.
Holding that right wrist. It's good. Hope he's all right. 1 ball, 1 strike. Inside to the pitcher.
No steals among active players against the Cubs.
And that's going to bring Cubs pitching coach Chris Bosio to the mound. Arrieta just out of kilter the last couple of innings. The Braves have yet to make him pay for it, though.
I'll bet over these last 11 quality starts, there have not been too many trips to the mound by Chris Bosio.
Yeah.
So maybe an attempt to get him to reset.
Perfect August, as you said, an ERA under 1 in that stretch. 11 straight quality starts in which Arrieta has gone 8-1 with a 1.35 earned run average. Right now he's their best. He has not pitched like their best to this point, even though he's got him shut out. He's thrown a lot of pitches. Two balls and a strike. And he's back on the beam. 2-2. It's pointed out to me a moment ago that in that Tigers series, the Cubs starting staff lasted 5 2/3 total against the Tigers.
Ow.
They need some innings from Arrieta tonight and Hendricks tomorrow. Look out. It's bounced foul. 2-2.
Nick Markakis, I wouldn't wander too far out there toward the first base line.
That stayed inside.
Full count, fastball, Fulte fastball. See if you can get around on it. Start early.
That's a foul ball.
Swing. As soon as you see his hand swing.
Eighth pitch of the at bat. And something off speed got Fultonevich to swing and miss. That's almost not fair.
Cutter.
Fifth strikeout. And second and third to the top of the order, Nick Markakis. Nick has hit the ball to the right side twice in as many trips tonight.
He likes to get after the count after the pitch early in RBI spots.
Strike one.
There's another cutter. Nick had a big day yesterday, 3 for 3 with a double and a walk and an RBI.
To short. And Arrieta pitches out of trouble in the Atlanta fifth. No runs, a hit, 2-man left. He struck out 5 through 5, and that's his lead as well. game in the third inning. Doug Eddings, the man behind the plate. Here's what got the Braves skipper upset.
Well, these were what led up to it. That was Rizzo that should have been a strike. That one, Pulte thought he had a strike. Ball was moving really well. This one was strike 3, and he didn't get it. And then this one to Coghlan may have run off the plate a little bit, granted, but it was what led up to it. By not getting the pitches inside, he getting nothing outside. Freddie complained to try to protect Fultonevich, who had complained, and without too much to do, he threw Freddie out of the game.
And to your point, can't argue balls and strikes. We all know that.
Yep.
But the only two people in the ballpark who knew Freddie Gonzalez said anything were the umpire and Freddie Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Let him have his say and be done with it. But the mask came off. The look in the dugout. That escalated the situation. Freddie Gonzalez kept barking. And then he was run. Fifth inning for the Cubs. Schwarber leads off and takes a little low. He's grounded out and popped out. He's ahead, 3 balls, no strikes. Coghlan, then Rizzo. That's in there, strike 1. Leadoff walk. Only Mike's second base on balls in the game. But 2 homers have cost him dearly.
I told you about Schwarber and his offensive work since he got called up. He's been walking too. That was his 19th walk against 38 strikeouts. But he came into the game with an on-base percentage of .407.
Line into the right field corner by Coghlan. Schwarber around second, on his way to third. He's going to get green lighted. Coghlan around second. He's on his way to third. And the Cubs lead 6-0. It's a Coghlan triple. His third of the year and his 34th RBI.
When Chris Coghlan became the Rookie of the Year down in Miami, everybody knew the way he was swinging the bat down there, he was going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time. And then he hurt his knee. And in a real dubious way, I can't remember how it happened.
Celebration at home plate. He was jumping up and down.
What it was?
Got hurt, blew out his knee.
And he disappeared. He was off the face of the map for a year and a half or so. And it really wasn't until he came here to Chicago that he's bounced back, and he's bounced back in a big way, swinging the bat, much like he did that Rookie of the Year season. When he got called up, I think he got called up in May or June. I think it was June, and then just had a ridiculous number of hits.
I think it was over a hit per game.
Yeah.
And just cruised to the Rookie of the Year that year for Marlins. Meeting from Roger McDowell is over. Third time in 4 starts that Fultonevich has allowed 6 runs. It's 6-0 Cubs. They bat in the 5th. And the Atlanta bullpen has gone to work. A walk and a 3-run homer for Rizzo. The infield in. Fulte gets ahead, strike 1.
Remember in his last start, Chip, against Arizona, when he came out after 4 2/3, and I said, you know what? I didn't think he pitched that poorly. There was a drop fly ball, a pop up. There was a double play that didn't get turned. That all led to runs of some number. I don't remember exactly how many that led to. But I thought, you know what? He pitched pretty well, and the numbers were just, the line was just ugly. And I kind of feel that way tonight. It's 6-0, and man, he's made a couple of mistakes with whatever that cutter was, like to Russell. Rizzo turned on a fastball in.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing for not just Fultonevich, but frankly all the Brave stars right now. This team's struggling so mightily to score runs. You make 2 pitches that cost you 4 runs, you're in deep trouble.
Yes.
He's given up 6.
Yes.
But after Freddie got ejected, next pitch, base hit, 1-0. Next pitch to Rizzo, 3-run homer. You take away that inning, it's a 2-run game and still very manageable. But there is absolutely no margin for error for Fultonevich on the mound, or frankly for any of the other Brave starters, including Shelby Miller, who starts here tomorrow.
Well, you understand why he's throwing this, or this attempt at the cutter is to get some movement on his fastball. That's obvious. But these guys, there's 97 here on, I don't know how many pitches he's thrown. This is the 5th inning. He can still bring it. 90 pitches. He's still in the upper 90s with his velocity. I love this. I love the fact that he can do this. If they can figure out a way to enhance his curveball as more of an off-speed pitch, and then use the slider when he's ahead in the count, this guy's going to be dynamite.
And it sounds like maybe it's a silly question. Guys who don't throw hard can't throw harder.
No.
Guys who throw hard sometimes have trouble throwing less hard.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You asked Smoltz that the other night. Was it hard for you to not throw something 95? And he said, no, I couldn't. Everything I threw, no matter what the grip was, it was going 90.
Right. So in the case of Fultonevich, whose tendency is and desire is to throw everything hard, you say the curveball, we've seen it be very good. We've also seen it be very, very hittable.
We have. It's got to get more consistent, but that's why he's out there, and that's why he will continue to be out there.
Yeah, he's not going to learn it by not pitching.
No.
In these game situations.
I don't know what his future holds. I don't know if it's as a starter or a guy at the end of the game in the bullpen. That may well be the case, but I like him. I like him. Oh, come on.
That's a strike. I don't care what Fox Track says. That's a strike.
Good grief. See, Mike voices disapproval too. I don't blame you.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Got that one. And now it's Bryant's turn to complain. 6 strikeouts for Fultonevich, 2 down. And here's Montero.
Surprised he got that call.
Montero is 0 for 2.
When Nolan Ryan first started, and don't get me wrong, but when Nolan Ryan first started, he threw harder than anybody in the National League with the Mets, and they tried to figure out, how can we use this? How can we harness it?
Smack to center. Maben back. It's off the ivy. A run is in. Montero to second. He'll slide in with a 2-out double. Well, let's go even more recent history.
Let me finish on Nolan Ryan first, and that is that he was a wild horse who threw 95 plus, and no one had seen anyone be able to do that over the course of a long stretch of a game. He was in the bullpen, but then became a starter. And look what happened. And look who he became. And I'm not saying this guy's going to be Nolan Ryan, but there's some similarities you could draw.
Randy Johnson as well.
Same thing.
Left-handed pitcher, but similar struggle. 7 runs for the Cubs against Fultonevich in 4 2/3 innings. But believe us, folks, he didn't pitch as bad as that line would indicate.
Braves baseball is presented by AT&T Uverse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
Big crowd in Chicago enjoying proceedings tonight. The Cubs have a big game working, up 7-0 and still hitting in the fifth. And McKirahan is on the mound. McKirahan, a former Cub and former Marlin farmhand.
He pitched at Tampa Bay on that brief road trip, did not pitch at home against Arizona, and pitched in one game at San Diego. He's given up runs in each of his last 2 outings.
Well, this is
in 3 of his last 4.
I'm sorry, Joe. If ever there was a Achilles heel for the Braves on the road, we found it. The Braves bullpen has struggled in unbelievably strong fashion over the last 20 games. Going back to the just completed series in San Diego, the Braves relief corps allowed 10 runs in 7 innings against the Padres out of Petco. The Braves are going to walk Jorge Soler and face the pitcher Arrieta, who's been staked to a eye-popping 7-run lead at home. So first and second for Chicago. And here is the Cubs pitcher, and here is what Atlanta's relief corps has done in the last 20 away from Turner Field.
Can't hang it all on the bullpen, but you can hang a lot of it on it. A 6 ERA. Starters ERA is over 5. A lot of long balls. Offense not there to support it either. But it's the close games. The frustrating part, Chip, has been games that the Braves have been in that the starters have kept the game close enough for the team to have a chance to win. It seems like in all of those games there's been add-on runs then against the bullpen that put the game out of reach.
One ball, no strikes from McKirahan. Got that call for an even count. Pirates lead the Giants 4-0 now as that game moves to the 9th inning.
For Mike Fultonevich, 5 of the 8 hits he allowed came on the first or second pitch. But that's what we were complimenting him on early on, was 7 of his first 10 pitches, 7 of the first 10 batters he threw first pitch strikes to, which I think is important to him.
How many of those first pitches you think were fastballs that they hit?
Probably 99%, at 99 miles an hour.
Swing and a miss. McKirahan gets the pitcher, and that ends the Cubs' 5th inning. Chicago scores 2 more runs, a triple and a double, makes it 7-zip. fan photo. Use hashtag SouthDataStrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. With Joe Simpson and Jen Hildreth, Chip Carey from Wrigley Field. Rough start to the first game of the weekend set. Cubs 7, Braves nothing. Chris Bryant's out of the game. Jonathan Herrera has checked in to play third base.
I'm just wondering if Chris Bryant already had a bruise of some sort on his left foot. He already had that protective device on there. And then remember, he fouled one off of that. I think his first at bat. So maybe that began to bark.
As soon as we find something out, we'll pass it along. As Cameron Maben takes a strike to start the 6th. Two. As always, they have the 7th inning stretch here in Chicago. They still do the celebrity guest conductors. Tonight it's celebrity chef Ann Burrell. That's how you pronounce Ann's name. Blonde-haired lady, looks like Guy Fieri. She'll be singing. Maybe she'll bring us some cookies. I can't believe they don't ask you.
I've heard you sing. You can carry a tune. Not that that really matters in this regard. As we've learned.
Yeah, that's true. Strike 3. Maven's down looking. There's the first out.
I think that was the fastball I was talking about earlier. No, that was a slider. Thought it might have been a crossfire fastball. It wasn't. Never mind.
Freeman has an infield hit. Cubs will shift. Herrera's the man that will scamper into shallow right field. Atlanta has 3 hits tonight. Popped out of play. The old 7th inning stretch, being bad was really good. They would sing the song. Mike Ditka was famous, of course. Jeff Gordon called it Wrigley Stadium once. That drove everybody crazy. Not good. The Macho Man Randy Savage was here.
Macho Man.
He was great. Miss Elizabeth was with him too. Made sure he had the feather boa properly draped for the song. He was terrific. Ozzy Osbourne, unforgettable. Foul past first.
You had a long line of pretty ladies come up too, right?
Oh, yeah, that was
you tell me Jane Seymour.
Beautiful.
Knockout.
Absolutely beautiful, and even a nicer person. That was the best part.
Cool.
Shania Twain was here once. Vanna White, she sang the 7th inning stretch. That was the really cool thing about that job, was you really got to meet some really interesting people, and unfortunately we had a lot of games like this. We had to fill a lot of time with
we just wanted to keep singing,
or just stick around for a couple of innings and talk with us for a while. Swing and a miss. Well, that's a nasty pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Freeman's retired.
His fastball's right around 95 most of the night. Look at that ball. Look at that cutter. That was a cutter. Look how much it moved. Oh, mercy. No chance. And that's what I saw a lot of in Atlanta.
It was unhittable. It really was unhittable. When you become commissioner of baseball, you should outlaw that pitch.
Jake Arrieta would be very upset with that.
He's got three other good ones. He doesn't need all 4 every night. As A.J. Pierzynski bats. 0 for 2 tonight. Nine o'clock in Chicago, 7-0 Cubs. We're in the 6th.
During this 11-game quality start stretch, his strikeout totals have been by game 7, 7, 7, 4, 9, 10, 8, 6, 5, 6, 5, and tonight he's got 7. 170 now on the year. And 168 innings.
AJ went down and got that pitch on an 0-2 count. He's got the 4th Atlanta hit. So we all know a quality start's a 4.50 ERA, right?
Yes.
Jake Arrieta's ERA during this stretch is 1.35. So there should be a super quality start statistic for him. As he's in great position to win his 15th game this year.
Yeah, 1.35 and hasn't given up a run yet tonight, so it's even lower.
AJ at first for Adonis Garcia. He has been caught looking twice. That one's bounced up the middle. Oh, nice play, and a flip to Coghlan by Addison Russell sent us to the bottom of inning number 6. 7-0 Cubbies. Steve Avery, who's here in Chicago tonight.
Oh, it's good to see Steve. And what a great pitcher he was at such a young age, huh? And shoulder injuries took him out a lot earlier than it should have.
I love the fact he's wearing a Georgia Bulldog shirt. That makes me happy. Check him out.
Georgia, huh? Not Georgetown?
That's not a Georgetown Hoya.
It's not a Hoya?
That's a Georgia Bulldog. Red color.
Okay.
Trust me, it's red.
Well, you just see a bulldog and you just see red.
That's it's like Pavlov in reverse. Huh. Good to see Steve.
Yeah, it's great to have him here. I wonder if he'd consider warming up.
Addison Russell leads off for Chicago in the 6th. Game 2 here tomorrow. Quick turnaround. Day game. In fact, 3 more day games ahead for the Braves and Cubs. First pitch here tomorrow at 3:05 local time, 4:05 back in Atlanta.
My friend Bud Black, who is the former manager of the Padres, as you know, and pitching coach along the way in his career.
In the air to right, that's playable for Markakis. A rare fly out on the way.
He told me one time he thought Steve Avery had the best windup he had ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. He just thought it was the prettiest, a little bit unorthodox in some ways, but he thought it was the greatest windup he'd ever seen. Oh, that was great. I told Steve that once, and he goes, "Really?"
Just deadpan, that's it?
Yeah. It's like, it's just my windup. I don't know what I do.
Now I wonder if Aves is in town because the Tigers were here. The Tigers were the team that just blasted the Cubs the last 2 days. So maybe he's making a long week and weekend of it here in Chicago.
Yeah, a lot of Tiger gear flanking him.
Dexter Fowler's the hitter. And takes up and away. 2 balls, no strikes. We understand Steve Avery's not the only former Brave at the ballpark tonight. This one's hammered into the left center field gap. Maybe it'll play it on a second hop. Fowler slams on the brakes. And he'll stop at first with 1 out. Former Brave and former Cub first baseman Fred McGriff is here tonight.
Oh, there he is. Row right behind him.
So, Jen, we've got a couple of interview candidates for you if you're willing tonight.
You guys warmed up. I've been trying. I told them I'd probably be coming at some point over the series. And it was funny. I think they spent about the first 3 innings arguing whether or not McGriff had ever hit a home run off of Avery.
Oh.
And the answer was, you guys know?
No.
The answer was yes, that he had done it. I think Avery was still checking like several innings later to make sure that was true. He didn't remember it, but McGriff said he had the numbers to back him up.
It's great. Truth is always the best defense, isn't it? As Kyle Schwarber bats with a man aboard and 1 out. Yeah, the Cubs got Fred McGriff late in his career. Took him a couple of tries to get him from Tampa Bay. Fred, I think, was a 10-5 player or had a total no-trade clause. The Cubs were still trying to get in the playoffs one year. Needed some help at first base. Finally got Fred McGriff to put on the Cub pinstripes.
Yeah, he had to say okay. You're right. It's Travis Wood, who may save Arrieta some innings tonight. I swear, I think Fred could still step in there and hit. He's doing a good job learning the ropes in the front office, and as he told us when he was visiting with us during Alumni Week, that he's enjoying it, learning a lot.
Well, what a wonderful source of information Fred McGriff is for the Braves' young hitters that they're starting to accumulate in the farm system too. I think the Braves have done an excellent job in recent years of getting the former name guys back involved in the organization, working up and down the minor leagues, creating a pipeline of maybe future coaching or managerial talent for the ball club. It's great. One ball, 2 strikes. And that missed.
Avery flanked by those 2 Tigers fans reminds me that I know Steve's a big Michigan fan, and Fox has got that football game. Was it September 3rd between Michigan and
the Utes.
Utah?
The Utes.
The Utes. Jim Harbaugh's debut as the Wolverines head coach.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And pulled foul. This is also a special trip for some really hardworking members of the Braves organization. Several members of the Braves home clubhouse staff got to make the trip to San Diego and Chicago as a reward for their hard work. Boy, your first road trip, San Diego, Chicago. Welcome to the big leagues, boys.
Yeah. Not too bad. I'd say the same thing for members of the bullpen.
Swing and a miss. Nobody's seen these places, right?
Nice pitch there by McCarahan.
He's got a couple of strikeouts. And here's Chris Coghlan. Coughlin's had a nice night. A single, a triple, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. Cubs are 12-1 since they put him in the number 3 spot on their lineup card. Pretty nice place to hit if Schwarber's cooking and Rizzo's cooking. Got to pitch to one of those 3 guys, and Coughlin's the man in the middle, and he has taken advantage of it. Tonight's his 8th start at second base.
That year he got called up, Chip, that we were talking about, he was hitting .344 at New Orleans. Got called up to the Florida Marlins at that time. And overall for the season hit .321. He played in 128 games for the Fish, 128, and he had 162 hits.
162 hits, how many games?
128. 31 doubles, 6 triples, 9 homers. That's breaking in with a splash.
And then he got hurt. I think it was one of those pie-in-the-face celebration deals after a game-ending hit.
Well, the next year he had 268 in 91 games and then started battling those knee injuries. Hit .230, a lot of rehab work. 140 the next year, more rehab. 256 in 2013, and then last year here with the Cubs.
Another line drive, but this one's caught it short. And that retires the side. We head to the 7th. It's all Cubs tonight. Got a late start to our AT&T Uverse trivia question tonight, but here it is for you. Jake Arrieta is 4th in the league with a 2.39 ERA. Name the last Cub to lead the league in earned run average.
We could go to Greg Maddux, or we could go to Mark Pryor, or we could go to Kerry Wood.
Rick Sutcliffe.
Rick Sutcliffe.
Cy Young.
Yeah.
Couple of changes for the Cubs. Travis Wood is on to pitch. And Starlin Castro is checked into the game at second base for the Cubs. Arrieta terrific tonight. 11 ground outs, 7 strikeouts, 0 fly ball outs. On a windy night, that is a perfect way to pitch.
I'll say. We've seen Travis Wood before, but as a starter primarily. This year, of his 37 outings, 7 have been as a starter.
Arrieta's 6 innings of shutout ball. And now the left-hander Wood goes to work. 1 walk. 4 hits for Jake tonight. Jace Peterson to left. And Schwarber, the catcher, catches it in left field. There's the first out. Hey, a fly out.
Isn't that funny? First guy after Arrieta leaves. We're on a roll on trivia.
Yeah.
1 in a row.
Yeah. I like the Sutcliffe guess.
Me too.
And it is a guess. But there's been Bill Pappas. There's Ken Holtzman. Ferguson Jenkins.
Oh, Fergie.
A lot of great ones have pitched here in Chicago. Big crowd, 34,633. There'll be more here tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Big weekend. Simmons swings and misses. Cubs will gain ground on the Giants if they hold on tonight. Pirates shut them out 4-0. That game at PNC Park. Giants placed Hunter Pence on the DL with an oblique. Pittsburgh with their win. Now 33-10 in their last 43 games at home.
Goodness. You know, Cardinals better not look back.
No.
The Cardinals are another team whose outfield is ravaged right now. Hayward's hurt. Holliday's been out with that quad muscle 2 different times.
And the Cardinals lead at the moment 4.5 games in the division.
Wasn't it double digits at one point, or at least 8 or 9?
It was up there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Cardinals will have a lot of games left with the Pirates in September when the divisional play takes over once again in September.
And I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it seems like every time they play each other, the Cardinals get the best of them. They can't get any ground when they have an opportunity head to head.
In close games.
Yes.
So that's going to be a great battle. And who knows, maybe the Pirates and Cardinals will beat up each other enough to let the Cubs sneak in. The Cubs are 9 back in the division, but their best route might be the wild card. Cubs fans don't care. All they want to do is get in. And they have been a wild card team before. That magical 1998 season. They had a 1-game playoff against the Giants and won the game here at Wrigley Field. Two balls, 2 strikes. And a line drive into center. Simmons hit it hard.
That wasn't quite eye high, but that was a great shot from center field to watch Andrelton's head and track the ball right to the bat and hit it right back toward the camera. That was nice.
5th Braves hit. That was beautiful. And here's Michael Bourne. He's walked and struck out.
You know what we've noticed, I think, from Andrelton, and his average is creeping up toward 260, and he's been much more consistent. He hasn't had some real highs and lows, but he's not swinging from his backside.
Posterior?
Yes, trying to hit home runs. He hit 3 early in the season, got him in some trouble because he started going for the pump, and he's quit doing that. He's using what he's got.
And I would think for a young player as talented as Andrelton, it's hard coming to grips with what you want to do or want to be and what you truly are and should be for the benefit of yourself and for your team.
Some guys never do, and they don't last long.
We all know how good he is with the glove, how strong his arm is. As Bourne hits one out second. A high throw from Russell. Quick feed from Starlin Castro. Not necessarily a good one.
No, it was an awful one.
And Russell, that's what has the Cubs infielder in their doghouse.
Yeah. Yeah. Castro normally is shortstop. You know this. This feed low. And I don't know what Russell thought was going to happen there with Andrelton. Maybe he didn't have a very good grip on the baseball. But the poor feed set that up.
Starlin Castro is under contract for a couple more years at big money. And he's relegated to the bench. Johnny Gomes will pinch hit. 7-0 game. 2 outs. Runner at first. As we wait the 7th inning stretch. And a strike inside corner. 0-1.
I had one scout tell me before the game tonight that he can't remember the last time a young player's skill set declined as rapidly as Starlin Castro's.
That's a shame. This guy was one of the best hitting infielders in the first 3-4 years of his career in Cubs history. Now he's a reserve player. In fact, there was another scout who told me he wonders if the Cubs were to make the playoffs, if Castro would be on their roster. That would be a dramatic fall from grace. No balls, 2 strikes. And Gomes didn't get it. And that retires the side. 7th inning stretch in Chicago. And Burrell will perform the duties. We'll evaluate her performance when we come back.
Chef and TV personality.
Take me out to the ball game. That's the old. There is, of course, the new here at Wrigley Field. Part of that, this giant scoreboard that was put up behind me here in right field. And an interesting story that happened when the Tigers were in town. Pitcher Daniel Norris actually hit a shot in batting practice on Tuesday that took out a piece of the scoreboard. They had it fixed for that night's game. But the next night, in his first major league at bat, he hit another home run. Now, that one didn't hit a scoreboard, but it makes for kind of an interesting story, tying into some of the new elements here at the renovated Wrigley Field, renovations that will continue for the next couple years. But I tell you, Chip, some things do stay the same. Just a few moments ago, these fans over here, I saw them standing up and yelling, "Left field sucks." So the bleacher bomb's still going strong out at Wrigley.
It's amazing.
How's the view from there, Jen?
That's nice.
I bet it is. Feel like you're right on top of things, don't you?
Yeah, so I've sat right in front of Steve Avery and Fred McGriff, and now I'm out here in the bleachers. I've got to get a good feel of Wrigley. We've got 4 days. We'll get it covered.
Now, you're sitting right above the scoreboard and right?
Correct.
All right, that's over in the well section of the fence.
That sounds like a bar.
Well, that's pretty much what Wrigley Field is, like with a baseball game thrown in. So enjoy the view.
Will do.
That might be the best seat in the house. But I hope she brought some sunscreen because that scoreboard is awfully bright. In right field.
It will be tomorrow.
Yeah. But I'm with you. I like the changes. I like the modern touches to the ballpark, like Fenway. As this ball is bounced to first, Detweiler is going to get Rizzo for the first out. Like Fenway Park, it keeps all the inherent old world charm, as it were, with much more of the modern conveniences that frankly fans demand now. This isn't baseball 100 years ago where fans would come and just watch the game and listen to the sounds of the game. Fans want entertainment, the walk-up music and all that stuff. These scoreboards allow that to happen for the Cubs, as well as provide revenue streams in advertising and the like.
I was afraid they might take down the old scoreboard, and fortunately they did not.
Yep, manual scoreboard still in play. That was built by Bill Veeck in the late 1930s here in Chicago. Like Fenway Park, still operated by hand. And as distinctive a feature of this ballpark as the bricks and the ivy, which also was planted by Bill Veeck as a youngster here in Chicago. If
there has been some fallout from the new and improved Wrigley Field bleachers and the scoreboards. It's the people across the street who had seats sold up on the rooftops that are now blocked. That has come under some screaming and hollering from the owners across the street. Lawsuits filed, but from what I'm told, the judges have said, sorry,
hang with it.
Went with it and ruled in favor of the Cubs.
There's a strike that takes care of Jonathan Herrera. It's funny, when I was here in the late 90s, all those rooftops started to spring up, and at the time they were trying to figure out funding for Comiskey Park. The ultimate irony of it was, as the rooftop owners started building those rooftops and they became more and more popular and the Cubs got better and better, more and more people went. Well, the city of Chicago needed to make sure that those were safe places for fans to watch the games, fire escapes, elevators, and all that stuff. Well, the city of Chicago found a way to tax it. So they put a ticket tax or an entertainment tax on the rooftops. The entertainment tax for the Cubs fans watching from the rooftops at Wrigley Field went to pay for Comiskey Park.
Oh, nice.
That worked out well, didn't it? There's Montero bats with 2 outs.
Well, something tells me that those that we just showed that still have a view inside the ballpark, I bet the ticket prices went up because there aren't as many as there used to be.
Supply and demand at work, you bet. Yeah. You ever been in one of the rooftops?
I have not.
If you get a chance, it really is great. All you can eat, all you can drink, and it is a party. Off we go to the 8th inning. It's 7-0 Chicago in Game 1. Get a professionally monitored in-touch system with $1,800 in free equipment, including an exterior camera and touchscreen door lock. Please visit cpisecurity.com. Pretty view of the Chicago River and downtown Chicago, one of the great architectural cities in North America and, frankly, the world. 7-0 Cubs in Game 1. As we promised you earlier tonight, we've selected our Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #SouthDataStrongFan for your chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Zach Tucker. Good picture, good hat. Like it.
I'm with you. I like that gray and red hat. Good look. Well, usually around these parts, when a favorite team was losing, maybe a certain old broadcaster would say, "Hey, let's get some runs."
Yeah, I'm with him.
It's 7-0 for Nick Markakis, the Braves leadoff man tonight. 3 groundouts from Nick. Those all came against Jake Arrieta, against whom he's now 0 for 9. And fell back out of play. You know what Shelby Miller's thinking? He's got the ball tomorrow. He's thinking, all right, Cubs are going to get this out of their system. Braves are going to get their scoreless run out of their systems and give him some support. Give him in the win column tomorrow. And Markakis with a base hit to right.
You know, Joe Madden saw that a time or two in the American League East.
Yes, he did. So there's a start to the 8th. Cameron Maybin is the batter. He's 0 for 3. Nationals are in action tonight. Low scoring game in Colorado. Washington 2, Rockies 2. That game features Max Scherzer and Johan Flande. Rockies team ERA 5.55 this year at home.
That sounds like a dessert. I'll have the Scherzer Flande, please.
Scherzer Flande. Well, the Rockies had only 2 hits yesterday. Long year for Walt Weiss. They've got a couple of young starters that they're excited about. John Gray's one of them. We'll probably see him in Atlanta. That's who we face when we get home from Chicago.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner.
0-1 for Maybin. Pull the trigger. It's 0-2. Boston beat the Royals tonight 4-1. Cleveland beat the Yankees 3-2. Tigers beat Texas 4-0. White Sox and Angels are tied 1-1 after 1 in Anaheim.
Detroit has decided to get hot.
Detroit is 15 out of first and only 4.5 out of the wild card.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
Me neither.
58 and 61, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams to catch if they're to sneak in as the number 2 wild card in the AL. Strike out of Maybin. 1 on and 1 out for Freddie Freeman. Interesting dilemma that the Cubs fans are talking about in Chicago. Assuming the Cubs get in as a wild card and the second wild card, they'd have to go on the road and play a 1-game playoff. Do you start Lester? Do you start Arrieta?
Don't think there's any doubt, personally.
In a must-win game, you got to start the man that pitched tonight, right?
You bet. I'd want to know what the matchups were and how he has fared against that particular team, but you go with the hot hand.
Freeman lines one over short and into center field. He's got a 2-hit night. That's good to see. 2 on 1 out. The Cubs bullpen is busy. Atlanta now with 7 hits.
Braves have gone 9 straight games without getting into double digits in hits. So even in a losing cause, as AJ is greeted warmly again, even in a losing cause, they get into double digits tonight. Give them a little head start on tomorrow. Might be good. All the hits tonight, all 7, are singles.
Montero to the mound. That buys some more time for the Cubs bullpen. It's Justin Grimm warming up for the Cubs. David Artsmas pitching in the Braves pen. The high strike, 0-1. Arizona won again tonight. They beat the Reds 6-4. That's a final. Marlins lead the Phillies 9-6 after 8 in Miami. Strike 2.
What'd you say the score was?
9-6 Miami after 8.
They got 4 in the first and 4 in the second, I believe.
Yeah, it was 8-1 after 2.
Wow.
Phillies have 5 runs in their last 2 at bats, and they're coming up for the 9th. We haven't even talked about Chase Utley. That trade official. He's a Dodger now. It seems awfully strange to say, but I think it's an amicable end for both parties, don't you?
Oh, I think they did a nice thing for him last night after the game. They mentioned it on the PA so that he's walking off. Fans gave him a great ovation. He got to tip his cap and acknowledge the fans. I read somewhere today that they were calling him perhaps the most popular Philly of all time. And to say that and acknowledge him ahead of Mike Schmidt in particular, that's saying a lot.
I'll tell you how quickly the game changes. There are only 2 members left for the Phillies World Championship team on their roster. 2.
Carlos Ruiz and Ryan Howard.
Yep. 1 ball, 2 strikes. AJ fighting hard, fouled it back.
I don't never know that if Ryan Howard is the right answer, but he's always the right answer on Phillies trivia, so that's why I just threw his name out there, hoping that was right.
Yeah, it's a safe guess. And then it comes, who destroys the Braves, even if he's having a bad year? Ryan Howard or David Wright, but that's on the Phillies question.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Wood and Montero can't get together on the signs.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it's only his 38th appearance, and it's August 20th, and they've never had to do this before. So,
no, I'm going to say this because I know Tom Glavine's watching. He's left-handed, you know.
Yeah, right.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Sometimes you got to go out to those left-handers and explain things.
So Montero, after speaking very slowly, awaits the pitch that almost hit Brzezinski. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They had another guy named Wood who was quite a pitcher here in Chicago. Kid K, Kerry Wood. Broke in that 1998 season for the Cubs and set the world on fire with a 20 strikeout game.
They had 2 of the best arms in baseball, 1 and 2, and then Mark Pryor got hurt on that collision with Marcus Giles right here. Hurt his shoulder and never seemed to be the same.
And really, the guy I thought that had a chance to be the best of all of them was Carlos Zambrano. A guy perfectly suited to pitch in this park. Heavy sinker, the wind blowing in most of the time. And then Kerry Wood had arm problems. Pryor had arm problems. Zambrano
had problems, but they weren't in the arm.
Yeah, exactly. And the rest they say is mystery for the Cubs.
Yes.
One of the more unforgettable games for me was Lou Pinella's last game managing. Remember that? We were here.
Yes.
When Lou had to step down. His mother's health was a concern for him. And great at bat by Brzezinski to walk and load the bases. And Wood may have just thrown his last pitch of the night. He will. Joe Madden will make his way to the mound. And Atlanta has a threat working. Brzezinski a good night. Seen 26 pitches in his 4 trips to the plate. And it will be Justin Grimm with the bases loaded and 1 out. 7-0 Chicago. Back with more in a moment. with one out. College students, every Thursday home game is college night. The next one's coming up Thursday, September 10th. It's Tehran bobblehead night. Tickets are $20 with $10 of added value. And you get to sit in the new college section. Students get to run the bases after the game. Some even make it around on one trip. You heard that right. Don't miss out on these special nights at Turner Field. Space is limited. Go to Braves.com/college now.
Speaking of Georgia Bulldogs, Mr. Grimm.
I think he played with Alex Wood at Georgia. He delivers a quick strike.
I know this. He's striking out some folks. 34 2/3 innings, 52 strikeouts. Just had a birthday, just turned 27. 6'3", 210.
Mentioned earlier there was an old announcer here that would say, let's get some runs. There's another announcer that would come here from time to time that in situations like this would say, the bases are loaded and I wish I was too.
Yeah. Yes, he did. More than once.
Adonis Garcia's first visit to Wrigley Field. He's had an 0 for 3 night. Couple of strikeouts. Let's see if he can break up the shutout. Montero, a nice stop.
It's a hard curveball.
Cubs pen's been pretty good. 3.44 ERA. They also have Rafael Soriano working on a rehab with their AAA Iowa club. He's some insurance in case someone goes down or has ineffective work. 1-2 pitch. Line drive. That's slicing. That ball is going to be caught by Soler. And a late tag from third. Markakis coming home. He slipped and fell, got back to the bag, and was still able to score standing up on a line drive sac fly. So no shutout, 7-1 game, 2 are outs, runners at first and second. Bo Porter, I think, was stopping Markakis, but he decided to chug home anyway and was able to score standing up.
Oh yeah, his foot went right over the top of the bag. He was not going to be denied, despite Soler's very strong arm, who caught the ball and then looked and watched and realized that Nick didn't get a good jump and then went ahead and made the throw. 8th RBI for Garcia.
And the Braves are on the board for Jace Peterson, who's got a couple of hits. Cubs pen is empty as Grimm turns it loose. He's got a good arm, you're right. Strike one.
97 with an 85 curveball.
Grimm has 3 saves. Hunter has a save. Mott has 6 saves. Rondon has 21. Strop has 2. Wood has a save. Joe Maddon's really spread around the 27th out honors on his ball club. That's also somewhat unconventional. Many teams have a designated 9th inning guy with the lead. That's not so for Joe Maddon, it would appear. Strike 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think that's probably the word I should have used earlier when I was talking about Joe Maddon. He's just unconventional. He doesn't follow the stereotype of a major league manager in the way he goes about his business. He's not eccentric or crazy. He's just different.
1-2 pitch. I would think from a player's standpoint, that's got to keep you fresh, keep you in the game. And from an opposing standpoint, very difficult to scout what's in that man's mind when you're playing the Cubs. Two balls, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. All gifts accepted. Braves need a ton of base runners. Jace Peterson had a good visit to Wrigley tonight. 2 hits and a stolen base. They're trying to keep the inning alive for Simmons, who's next. Runners go. Fly ball left. Schwarber retreats. Plenty of room. And he's got it. Braves get a run on 2 hits. They leave a pair. Cubs are up for the home 8th.
Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Time for our CPI Security game summary as the Cubs come up for the bottom of the 8th inning.
Again, Mike Fultonevich, exactly the same number of innings as his last time out, 4 2/3. He gave up 6 runs against Arizona, 7 tonight, struck out 6, throwing the heck out of the ball. I'm still in his corner. Jake Arrieta, another complete game, another quality start, his 12th straight, tons of run support, so he's in good shape. Rizzo and Russell with home runs. Rizzo's 3-run homer in the 3rd inning after Freddie Gonzalez had been ejected, the big blow.
David Aardsma is on to pitch. He's the 4th hurler for the Braves tonight. Detweiler a scoreless inning with a strikeout. Yuri Perez is in the game to play right field. The acquisition of Michael Bourne, Yuri has been kind of a lost man in the lineup. Maybe he'll see some playing time here tomorrow afternoon. We'll find out.
He's probably going to bat 9th in the double switch to get him at bat in the 9th inning.
Two quick strikes to Jorge Soler. He went around. Yes, he did in a 7-1 game, 1 out. Good start for Aardsma in the 8th inning. And fans, the Braves are inviting all superheroes to Turner Field on Sunday, August 30th, when the Braves take on the Yankees. Ticket packs start as low as $25. They include your very own Braves superhero cape.
What?
And inclusion in the pregame parade. Hello again, everybody. Don't miss out on what will be a great day at the ballpark. Visit Braves.com/superhero today. She came to the ballpark dressed as Century 21 woman.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Get a cape.
Yeah.
Braves cape.
I got to tell you, fans, Joe and I have another 7 weeks together until the end of the season. The thought of him having a Braves superhero cape for the final 40-something games is a real terrifying prospect.
Just think what will happen if they give away Braves Nacho Libre masks.
We had one of those guys sit in front of us in San Diego the other night. For those of you who couldn't stay up late, this guy came out wearing a Padres-themed Mexican wrestling mask, and he did not shut up for 9 innings.
Did you see AJ just now?
No.
Foul ball off the screen, came back. He threw it over the screen to the fans. That was great. Yeah, that guy was leather lunged all night in San Diego.
That's fouled away.
AJ trying to make a friend. Pump fake. No, better not. Well, yeah, why not?
Yeah, they hate me here anyway.
Yeah.
You know what? If they boo you, that's because they respect you. And he did really.
And he's done a lot of damage here.
Exactly right. 0-2 pitch. He and Michael Barrett, who's an Atlanta native, I'm sure Michael's watching the game tonight, had a very memorable game here one day in interleague play. AJ and Michael were chirping, and Michael Barrett just hauled off and punched AJ.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right at home plate.
Huh.
It was a good one.
Michael had a few scraps.
Yep.
Had one with Zambrano in the dugout with the Cubs.
In his clubhouse, his own teammate.
Yeah.
Castro hits one to center. And that'll be the second out.
I have to say he got sucker punched on that one.
Yeah. Hope Michael's doing well. He had a good career.
He sure did.
And a terrific guy.
And he tagged Matt Holliday at home plate on that playoff game too, and didn't get the call.
Think about how different history would be if he had been called out and the Padres had won that game. Was Bruce Bochy managing the Padres still then, or had he gone to the Giants?
No, Bud Black. That was Buddy's first year.
Buddy's first year. I was going to say, if Bochy had been managing the Padres, he might still be a Padre manager had they won that series and maybe gone on to do great things in postseason play.
That was a great play-in game at Coors Field. Yeah, great game. Extra innings, back and forth.
A squibber right side by Addison Russell. Peterson has to hurry, and Freeman held the bag somehow. Fine play. And the Cubs are retired in order in the 8th. 9th inning. 7-1 Cubs lead it. Let's get back to our AT&T U-verse trivia question. This is a good one tonight. Jake Arrieta, with his 12th consecutive quality start, is 4th in the league with a 2.39 ERA. Named the last Cub pitcher to lead the National League in earned run average.
Are you going with Sutcliffe?
I'm going to go with Sutcliffe because I think he lost only one game after that trade.
Yeah, I'll go with Maddox or Wood. I'll go with Maddox.
Let's see if Sutcliffe or Maddox. Oh, come on. Please, really? Ray Prim.
Well, all I got to say is we're 1-1 over the last 2 days.
1945, though, a very big year for the Cubs. Last year they were in the World Series. So Ray Prim was a part of that. Here's Tommy Hunter. They got him from the Orioles.
For Junior Lake. Ninth game as a Cubby.
Line drive, base hit for Simmons. Boy, he is swinging the bat beautifully.
I mean to tell you, he's on top of the baseball. He's getting extension. Not trying to hit homers. They're going to come with that swing anyway. Breaking ball. Stayed right on it. I hope he just stays with that swing.
I wonder if his thumb problem in the long run is the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah, it's a good question. It was a very good point.
Ground ball right side. Castro to second. Good feed. Russell can't turn it. And Michael Boren beats the rap at first base. 1 on and 1 out. Fans watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV. Premium, real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widgets, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for details. So the Cubs are 2 outs away from win number 68 on the season.
And apparently the Braves did not double switch. Perez in the leadoff spot, so Swisher is hitting for Ardsma.
And a strike to Nick Swisher. This is an important at bat. I think we don't know when you're going to need Swisher off the bench in this series. Give him a chance to get acclimated in Chicago. Get a couple looks. Maybe he'll provide a good result.
And he's seen Hunter before.
Right. Nick with a homer, 4 RBIs. That's his career mark against the Cubs in 9 games. The Yankees, Indians, and A's. He's down 2 strikes. And Swisher is down on 3 pitches. Hunter with 98-mile-an-hour gas. Cubs bullpen is much improved. They have a lot of power arms, and as we mentioned, a lot of choices for Joe Madden to pick and choose from, depending on who has the hot hand late in the ball game. Now the Cubs are not away from snapping their 3-game losing streak. And it will be Yuri Perez to hit with a man aboard. Braves losing ways will reach 19 of 21 on the road. Last time the Braves had a streak anywhere close to this was 1935. The team was in Boston. All the way, it's 0-2.
Well, maybe they'll come out tomorrow and get 5 runs in the first inning of Kyle Hendricks. Give Shelby Miller room to work, and they can waltz through a game for a change.
Oh, 2. Ooh, it's slow. Bourne will take second base.
And germane to that conversation would be trying to score runs of any kind early to give him some room to work.
Well, as Jackie Gleason said, what do the Germans have to do with it? But you're right. It's been a while since the Braves have scored a first inning run. So our second look at the Cubs. They're about to win their 3rd and 4 tries against the Braves. I don't know if you can do much more than credit Mr. Arrieta for a brilliant performance tonight. He was on his game again. First Cub since Greg Maddux to turn in 12 consecutive quality starts. He's going to be 15-6 on the year. He fired 6 shutout innings of 4-hit ball tonight. He's the real deal. And now the 1-2 pitch for Perez. He went around next ball game. Cubs have won it 7-1 in game 1 at Wrigley Field. Arrieta now 15-6. Mike Foltynewicz drops his 5th game in 9 decisions. Crowd of 34,633 saw it. And the Braves will hope for better luck in game 2 of the series tomorrow afternoon with Shelby Miller on the mound. 7-1 tonight's final from Wrigley. Back to recap it after this.